Good morning. My name's Ade from Mailchimp. I want to talk to you guys about brand and why it's important, why your brand is important. To do this, I want to take you on a brief journey back in time. So I want to take you to a time when the SEO industry was still very new. I want to take you all the way back to old school. So in the beginning, there was relevancy and authority. There were lots of other things, but in the SEO industry, we cared about relevancy and authority because they led to the Holy Grail. Rankings, being number one on Google. So relevance is really easy. This is you talking about you. This is anything written on your website and how relevant that is to a given search term. So as an example, if you were selling apples online, you would try to make your website as relevant as possible to search terms such as buying apples online. Authority was also easy. This is other people talking about you. This is everything external to your website. This is also known as external links. If somebody placed a link on their website pointed to your website, this built authority. The more links you had, the more authority you had. So I want to give that some context so it's easier to understand. So if you imagine tonight is the best ever conference after party the world's ever seen. Everyone's having a great time. I turn up a little bit late and I instantly start telling everyone how cool I am. Hi, I'm really cool, I'm Ade. So I'm there the whole evening telling everyone how cool I am, and at the end of the night, I disappear off and no one thinks I'm very cool. In fact, quite a few, they think I'm a bit of a dick. So the next day, you bump into an old friend and he says, hey, great to see you. I'm opening a new restaurant. Tonight is the opening party. You should be there. It's going to be great. Oh, do you know any cool people who could come? Because the local press are going to be there and I want to look good. When your friend says to you, do you know any cool people? It's very likely I'll be the first person that jumps into your head because I spent the whole night the night before telling you how cool I was. But it's also very unlikely that you're going to recommend me because, let's face it, you think I'm a bit of a dick. So, you see, I've got relevancy because I've told you how cool I am, but I don't have any authority. So you're not going to recommend me to your friend. So let's go back in time again. Let's go back to our party. I've just turned up. I'm telling everyone how cool I am. But this time, the legend that is Tom Jones is at the party. I know some of you are quite young. Do you younger guys know who Tom Jones is? He's a legend. Everybody's like, oh my God, that's Tom Jones. Tom Jones is like, oh my God, that's Ade Lewis, he's really cool. And suddenly, I've gone from being this guy who, let's face it, you thought was a bit of a dick, to being someone who's really cool because Tom Jones says I'm cool. I've got relevancy because I've told you how cool I am, but I've also got authority because Tom Jones has given me that authority. And going by the rules of old school, relevancy times authority equaled your ability to rank highly. But since the dawn of old school, Google's reliance on authority has left them open to manipulation. And this single vulnerability is the number one reason for all the problems that plagued the SEO industry in the early days. Google was open to manipulation. So as SEOs, we manipulated. We didn't wait for Tom Jones to turn up at the party to tell you I was cool. We paid a fake Tom Jones to turn up to tell you I was cool, so you believed it. And in the same way, we faked websites pointing to other websites to fake links and fake authority because that's what Google wanted. They wanted relevancy and authority. That equaled rankings. And for our clients and our businesses, that equaled revenue. And we did this because it's worked, relevancy and authority. We focused on building this and nothing else. But in early 2011, it started to become easy to start spotting this fake authority, these fake links. Tom Anthony, who's a guy from an agency called Distilled in London, he built and released a Google Doc that he shared with everybody. You could upload your link profile and the link profile of your competitors, and it would start to highlight fake links, fake authority. We focused on building links because it worked. It gave us revenue, it gave us rankings. But not many of us focused on building non-link-based signals like trust factors, brand mentions, social conversations. We didn't focus on it because we didn't have to. Google didn't demand it. But Google evolved. The rapid rise in the use of social media around that time greatly assisted Google's ability to spot fake links and fake authority, combined with the use of aggressive anchor text and the lack of non-link-based signals. It made it very easy for Google to spot fake authority and act upon it. And in 2012, Google fought back. They released an update to their search engine called Penguin, which penalized businesses and websites who used fake links, fake authority. Lots of businesses saw massive drop-offs in organic visibility, massive drop-offs in rankings, and massive drop-offs in revenue. So as an industry, the SEO industry had to evolve. We had to change what we were doing. We had to stop faking authority, and we had to start building it legitimately. So we embraced new new tactics like content marketing and digital PR. We created and promoted infographics to drive links. We carried out studies and research and placed content to drive social conversations. We can now legitimately build authority. We don't have to fake it anymore. But there's still a problem, because we are still fundamentally focused on building authority. Building authority is still often the main intent of almost all content marketing and digital PR campaigns. So up until last year, I owned a web design and digital marketing agency prior to moving to Mailchimp. And these are some of the places, some of the publications and online websites that we created and placed content for our clients. There's nothing wrong with these publications. They're all great publications, but we targeted them for two different reasons. The first is that all of these websites have good authority. They have high domain authority themselves. The second is we knew that if we could place content for our clients, we knew we could build a link going back to their website to transfer some of their authority back to our clients. And this is the core of the problem, because Google is actively moving away from authority as a ranking factor, but we are still focusing on it. Google hasn't stopped evolving, and those non-link-based signals from 2011 and 2012, they've changed. I'm not suggesting there's another great big Google slap like Penguin coming our way. But if we don't start to change what we're doing now, there's a slow, lingering death on the horizon for many of our online businesses. So that was old school. Let's talk about now. If you type the question, what is a brand, into Google, you'll see something like this. A brand is a type of product manufactured by a particular company, or it is an identifying mark stamped onto livestock. From the perspective of the modern internet, these definitions seem very, very outdated. They seem to suggest a brand is something that can be easily produced, that a brand is something that's merely visual. They seem to suggest a brand isn't much more than a logo. But a logo doesn't define a brand for us. A logo doesn't help us to understand a brand. A logo helps us to recognize a brand. So they're right, a brand is the identity of a business, but it's also the personality of a business. A brand is the sum of all your customer experiences. And your brand isn't defined by your businesses, it's defined by your customers and what they say about your business. Ultimately, your brand is your reputation. So if you consider digital marketing and you put each of the elements such as SEO, PPC, conversion rate optimization, paid social media, each of those elements as a planet within the solar system, then brand is the galaxy. Every interaction that anyone has with your business shapes your brand. Every interaction, no matter how small. But why does it matter? If we're talking about relevancy and authority and rankings, why does brand matter? If you ask your friend for a recommendation of a bar or a restaurant, it's very unlikely they'll say, oh, I will assess the authority of all the options and I'll get back to you soon. It's not how we interact, it's not natural. Your friend is likely to give you an instant answer, and that instant answer will be based on their personal experience. For your friend to make a recommendation to you, there need to be three things in place. The first is they need to know the person, the business, or the brand that they're going to recommend to you. Second, they need to like that person or that business or that brand. Third, they need to trust them. These might sound like very, very basic requirements, but they're also very fundamental in the process that happens when we make recommendations to each other. If any one of these elements is missing, your friend isn't going to recommend a specific brand to you. or a specific business or a bar or restaurant. Something else that needs to be in place is that you need to trust and respect the advice that your friend gives you. If you don't trust your friend's advice, you won't take their recommendation. This is no different in the process that happens when we ask Google for a recommendation, when we perform a Google search. It's essential for for Google, that we trust and respect their advice. We trust the search results. If we don't trust the results, we'll stop using Google and we'll use a different search engine. And just like us, Google needs to know, like, and trust a business or a brand to recommend them to us in search results. If any of these elements are missing, Google won't recommend that business to us in the search results. They won't be listed. Something that we have that Google can never have is personal experience. But they don't need it. Google has spent so much time, effort, and money over the past few years learning to understand natural and conversational language. They now have the conversations of millions upon millions of us to base their own opinions on. But they don't just have our conversations, we give them direct feedback in the form of customer reviews. User engagement metrics tell Google how much time we spend searching for, engaging with, and buying from brands. And if somebody goes to the extent of typing your brand name in, followed by a product or a service into a Google search, this is a direct indication to Google that that person knows, likes, and trusts your business. These things and many, many more form part of your brand signals. Just like before, if you have authority, if you have links, but you don't have any of the non-link based signals, if you don't have any of these brand signals, then at very best, Google will start to ignore your brand. Every single piece of study and data done over the past few years suggests that external links are becoming increasingly less effective unless they're backed up by strong brand signals. The latest SEMrush ranking factors study shows us that the top 4 ranking factors are brand signals. This doesn't mean to say links and authority are dead, they're not. The top 4 ranking factors are brand signals. The next 4 ranking factors are link-based signals. The more authoritative your links are, the stronger your brand signals need to be to make those links effective. Any mention of your business anywhere on the web, whether that's in a Facebook post, a video, a comment, anytime anyone visits your website, it demonstrates a level of interaction. All of these things are brand signals. Not all brand signals are good. Someone can leave you a bad review, complain about you on Facebook, visit your website for 5 seconds and go back to search results because they didn't like what they saw. Those are negative brand signals and they will work against you. Google has evolved to the point that the decision-making process that decides and dictates how highly you rank in search, where you appear, is not made by people. They employ complex algorithms, they have done for a long time, driven by machine learning and artificial intelligence that automates the process for them. And this gives us a problem when we're applying our understanding as what we see of ranking factors against our brands. Because we tend to think of ranking factors as things that we can measure, things that we can put a metric against, like volume of site traffic, time on site, bounce rate, number of external inbound links. When we think about our brand signals, they're much more subjective, they're opinion-based. They combine search queries with behavior and engagements with conversions. And it's very, very difficult for us to apply metrics to those types of signals. So we tend to separate ranking factors, the things we can measure, we put metrics against, we separate them from our brand signals, the things that we find difficult or we can't measure. And it's only natural for us as businesses and as agencies helping businesses to focus on the things that we can measure and report on. We focus on those and we tend to ignore the softer brand signals that we can't measure. Because we can't report back to our clients and say, hey, we did these things, but we can't tell you what we did. But for Google, the terms brand signals and ranking factors are completely interchangeable. Google have evolved to the point that brand signals and ranking factors are the same thing. So what? We're running online businesses. We're helping people run online businesses. What does this actually matter? Well, I have 10,940 reasons for you as to why brand matters. These are search engine visibility graphs for 3 different e-commerce businesses. The businesses are all different. One sells door locks and door handles, one sells sailing equipment, one sells tickets to sporting events. The businesses are very different, but they all share some similar characteristics. The websites are all technically sound. They have good websites. There are no underlying technical issues that are stopping Google from crawling and indexing the content. They have good relevancy. They have unique product descriptions with good on-page content. And within their competitor groups, they all sit towards the top with regards to authority. But they have very few other brand signals. And this is a Google update from September last year. And you can see following the update, all three of these businesses dramatically lose search engine visibility. In fact, between these three businesses, they lost a combined total of 10,940 keywords from organic search. A quarter of all of their organic visibility disappeared. This update was called the Google Birthday Update because it happened on Google's birthday. And Google have been characteristically quiet about the update, as they are with all updates. But John Mueller, who is Google's senior search engine webmaster trends analyst, has given us some clues as to what the update was about. He's told us it wasn't punitive, which means they weren't intending to punish anybody's business or website with the update. They weren't targeting poor quality or fake links. They weren't targeting site quality. They weren't targeting thin content, and they weren't targeting duplicate content. This update was purely there to improve the search results for their users. How can it be that an update that resulted in the loss of a quarter of all visibility online for three different businesses just be about improving search results? And this is where this update was extraordinary, because whilst these three businesses lost a quarter of all their visibility, none of them saw any noticeable drop in revenue. Google were able to identify and remove the non-converting keywords for these three businesses from search results. They're the keywords that people were typing into Google, landing on these websites, and not buying anything. This demonstrates a level of understanding from Google about search intent, search queries, engagement, experience, and conversions that goes way, way, way beyond anything we could ever hope to measure with metrics. The fact that Google can do this, and they have done it, that they've measured brand signals and actively used those results to remove search engine listings, suggests we should be paying attention to our brands. Because what happens with the next update when Google decides to not just remove non-converting keywords, what happens when they remove our converting keywords that mean revenue to us? So let's talk about brand. Brand is like an iceberg. The majority of it's hidden below the surface. The portion that sits above the surface is our brand behavior. This is where we tell people who we are. This is where we project our brand voice. Just below this is the combined the combined knowledge of everybody working on our business. What we know about our business, what we know about our market, what we understand about our customers, and our knowledge shapes our behavior above the surface. Below this is the combined experience of everybody working on behalf of our business. Our experience gives us the confidence to apply our knowledge and project our brand voice. And sat at the very bottom, forming the foundations of our brand, are our brand values. And brand values give direction and guidance to everything above. They should inform everybody who works within our businesses what our mission or purpose is, why we do what we do, and our approach to achieving our goals. Many businesses see brand values as being something that you create when you want to start marketing yourselves. And businesses tend to shape their brand values based on what they think their customers want to hear, rather than what's actually important to the business. And brand values are fundamentally important to making sure that you have a unified behavior. Here's our Mailchimp brand values. Our purpose is simple. We want to empower the underdog. We want to make it possible for small businesses with small marketing budgets to be successful in competing against bigger players with big marketing budgets. Our brand values are humility. We never assume we know what's best for our customers, and we always assume there's something we need to improve. And this tells every single person who works for Mailchimp that we need to treat every single customer with respect, regardless of how big their business is or how small their business is, what stage of their business they're at. there's always something we can learn from them, and there's always something we can improve. And we want to foster an environment and a culture of creativity, constant experimentation and tinkering. We want our employees to know that they should always be thinking of ways of making us better. Regardless of where their position is in the company, we want them to test new ideas. Independence, never be afraid to zag when everyone else zigs. Dare to be different, stand out from the crowd, and celebrate the fact that we are different. And our motto is also simple: listen hard, change fast. Listen to our customers, listen to the market, and adapt as quickly as possible to give our customers what they need to be successful. Every single person, everybody at Mailchimp knows and understands our values. Everything that we do above our service, our behavior, is aimed at achieving our goals. If as a business you don't have a set of divine values, you're failing to give direction and guidance to all of your staff. For your customers, this can be very confusing because your behavior will be different depending on who they speak to. You will have different brand voices. If you want Google to understand your brand, if you want Google to know, like, and trust your business, it's essential that you have a unified and cohesive brand voice and a unified brand behavior. This is what brand values can give you. If at the moment you have a good website, you have no technical problems, you've got great content, you've got links and you've got authority, but you're still struggling to retain ground in search engine results, you need to start looking at what other supporting brand factors you have or don't have. What supporting brand factors do your competitors have, your successful competitors, that you don't? Where do they engage with their customers? Where do they have conversations? Where do they get direct traffic from outside of links and organic search that you don't? These are two other examples of websites. These websites are very different. The top one has a JavaScript rendered front end, which means it's very difficult for Google to find, index, and understand their content. Across their product range, they have lots of duplicate content, and within their competitor group, they sit towards the very bottom with regards to authority. But they do have very strong brand signals. They've invested heavily in advertising their brand. They've invested in cultivating lots of positive product and service reviews. And they've invested heavily in providing great customer service. Both of these businesses saw a very positive impact from this same Google birthday update, and they've continued to see an increase in organic visibility and revenue as a result. And building a brand is not just for the big kids. Any business of any size can build a brand. If you ask your friend for the recommendation of a plumber, and she says, try Dave, he's honest, he's reliable, he does a good job. That's Dave's brand, Dave the plumber. If Dave gets a shout out on Facebook for doing a great job, that's a brand signal. This approach works from the very, very smallest of businesses to the very biggest of businesses. The bigger your business, the more authority you have, the more brand signals you need to have to make that authority effective. Everything is relative. The size of your brand should reflect your authority, your business maturity, and the markets that you want to be represented in. If you are trying to sell products globally, you're going to need a global brand footprint. If you want to sell products to your local customers in your local area, your brand needs to be focused locally. Find out where your customers engage and start having conversations with them. And take two businesses that are of similar size, similar market, selling similar products. One of them has a great website and it has loads of links and has loads of authority. These are things that would have traditionally worked and driven them to the top of search engine results. The other one also has a good website. They have a lot less authority, but they have conversations around their business. They have people recommending their products to friends and family, people leaving positive reviews. Which business would you be more likely to buy from? And imagine for a moment that everything we know about the internet today is exactly the same, except for there are no organic search results. Organic search doesn't exist. How would you get people to visit your website with no organic search? Would it be via a YouTube video marketing campaign? Would it be via traditional advertising? Would it be via an email marketing campaign? Would you try to extend your brand reach via PPC? These are all examples of places that you could and should be building additional brand signals outside of links right now. So what's next for us as businesses who hopefully understand that brand is important to us? Well, first, keep building authority. Links are still very strong brand signals. Just make sure that they are backed up with other supporting brand signals to make that authority effective. Have a set of brand values that fully represent your ethos and brand. Make sure you have a cohesive and unified brand voice. Ensure any content you produce directly communicates those brand values, regardless if that's content you've written to go on your own website or your blog, or content that's being produced to go on an external website. If you are creating content to place on external websites, only actively pursue content coverage on sites that align with your brand values. Never purposefully place content on a site that doesn't align with your brand values just to build authority. You want to build a well-rounded brand with as many different brand signals coming from as many different places as possible. But focus on your strengths. If you already spend half of your personal life engaging on a particular social media platform, start building your brand signals there where you already feel comfortable. And positive reviews are very, very powerful. You should be trying to cultivate as many positive product or service reviews as you can. Make sure they're legitimate and genuine reviews. Never, ever try to fake your brand signals, because Google will spot it a mile away and they will start to ignore your brand. Ultimately, you want to be the best brand to do business with. Be the brand that people want to talk about, want to engage with. Be the brand that people want to buy from. I was very underwhelmed when I saw Google's definition of what a brand was when I searched for it. So I asked a few friends the same question: what is a brand? Will Reynolds from Sierra Interactive: a brand is a promise. Ollie Gardner from Unbounce: brands are companies that you give a shit about. So whatever they did to make you give a shit, that's branding. My favorite comes from Greg Gifford: a brand is what gives people the warm fuzzies, or makes them vomit in their mouth a bit when they hear the name of a company. Your brand is the future of your online business. You should make sure that any marketing you do aligns with your brand values and what you're trying to achieve. And if you remember nothing from my talk other than this, remember this: a crap website is still a crap website, regardless of links, authority, or anything else. If you know now that your website isn't as good as it should be, you should be doing everything you can to fix that before you start trying to market yourself online. Thanks for listening.